Okay, so I'm very triggered. This is gonna really, I'm gonna probably sound super duper judgmental when I say some of this stuff. And I don't mean to, and I'm gonna probably trigger some people, I don't know. And I don't mean to, but oh man, I am really getting triggered myself this morning. And I was just like these things. I whatever, after I finished recording, I don't know what the hell I did. I did some stuff, I think. And then eventually I sat down and started watching this old Kirk Douglas and Kim Novak movie. And then I started crocheting. And the movie was triggering the fuck out of me because of the programming in the way that they were, I don't know. It was like, have an affair, just follow your impulses, just do whatever. Who cares about this other person? And then, of course, there was the moral of the story at the end, where it doesn't turn out good for you. But to me, programming on the TV puts it in people's minds, like how to behave in certain situations. And there's just, a don't care about other people that started happening in different parts. And so when I notice it in different parts of society, so when I notice it in movies, it just is like part of the programming, part of the, and then plus that started a long ass fucking time ago. That was an old fucking movie. And, anyways, that was really getting me. And I was like, oh my God, this is driving me crazy. They should have never even started this stupid fucking institution of marriage anyways. It should have been left to each culture to do its own thing, to come up with this, this fucking marriage thing. Like, I wonder, do they get married legally and like under the government institution? Did all the governments start doing that in all the countries? Because that's some bullshit. Because I'm sure you go back to different cultures, they weren't fucking running to the government asking if they could get married. It was back a long while ago. It was just kind of sold somebody off. Like a family couldn't afford to feed you anymore. They just sold you to somebody else and you're married to them. So, I don't know. A lot of slave trading going on back then. So, anyways, the government institution is just another one of their licensings, get their hands in our houses, in our business, making decisions for us. So many people have got so much stuff blowing up about divorce. All the stuff about it is all going to be blowing up because it's just ridiculous. And then you just see it, how it's affecting people's lives. And it's like, oh my God. Like I said, like I could know things were coming, but then watching them play out and stuff, it's like, it's like being skinned alive or something. But, oh my gosh. So I watched that movie and I was already feeling just like, God, the deterioration of our society of just like, to just not care how to treat people. It was really triggering me and my whole thing because, when I was younger, I would never cheat. Like even when I was 16 and the guy at the gas station asked me out, I went and broke up with my boyfriend to go out with the guy. I wasn't a cheater. And I never cheated until I got to, there was one time I was kind of forced onto me. I've had some forced situations. But there was, but later on in my life, I married somebody who was a big old cheater. And they would laugh about it. Like he would, talk about his ex-wife and his attitude just was like, it was like the same thing with that other husband when I would hear how he was just didn't care about, so what? She can pay my debt off. It was like the same attitude of just like, fuck. And this is, in this case, it was this guy's wife. And he was so heartless towards her. And that to me just makes me see you a certain way. And then we had problems. I mean, there were so many, like I can go into so many things. There were so many issues, because that's when my kids were, it became so many issues. You know, it was just very, very toxic situation and a really bad time in my life. And so then he, and I kept trying to kick him out. I kept trying to get him to leave, and he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave. He kept going, where am I supposed to go? Go to the homeless shelter? I was like, go to the homeless shelter. I don't care. Get the fuck out of my house. You know, he tried to pull squatter rights, all this shit. But anyways, eventually I did, well, we got married. Well, we were already married, but we had this whole little ceremony thing. And I thought things would get better. And it didn't. It got worse. Oh my God. As soon as his wife found out we were married and we were on this trip in Mexico, she had the DA, child support, went in and wiped all my money out of my account while I was out of the country. So it was like, oh my God. Oh. And then his attitude though towards it and everything, that was the end of it. That was the end for me. I was like fucking so overdone at that point. And you know, I'm myself and always a mess. Always watching out for somebody else's feelings, never my own. But then I did cheat on him. And I did have a certain attitude towards him about it because of his attitude that he had expressed to me. And it was just like, you know, how's it feel? And then, you know, I mean, he's tried to get back together. He's contacted me and stuff. He hasn't been able to recently, but I had seen he had tried. And he always, you know, wants to get back, but he's always like, oh, how much that hurt him. That just was the worst thing. It just destroyed him and stuff like that. It's like, that is what you were putting out. That's who you were. And then you don't like it when it happens to you. And it didn't have anything to do with loving me. It had to do with his ego. You know, it wasn't anything about me. It had to do with somebody hurting him. So him not being perfect or whatever. That's, you know, some deep trigger. It's not healing it. Well, maybe he has at this point. I haven't talked to him in a few years. Definitely through all the quarantine. So maybe he's healed some stuff or whatever. But on the other situation, like now I'm bouncing around too much. I gotta catch up with my own mind. Because what was I gonna say about that? Because the cheating. So, you know, making an excuse for myself for being a cheater there, for going and turning around and being the same way. But before that, you know, I just felt it was wrong. It was wrong to do that. And so then, just when it shows like in the movies or something, it's like they just show to cut yourself off from how other people feel, like what you do to other people. But really play up the victim part. What's done to you is huge. But what you do to other people, well, there's probably a reason. Oh, give yourself a break. It's okay. Oh, no. Just watching the programming. I mean, they created this whole victim mentality. You know, they did it all on purpose. But, you know, this other thing that really triggered me. So after I finished watching that, I went on to TikTok. I was like, okay, well, this other weird movie star is really weird. Sometimes I like to see what just starts by itself. It was weird. It was weird. And so I just turned it off and then turned the meditation stuff on. And then I was like, well, I guess I could go and look at TikTok or something. Just like within a couple, there's something I kept trying to figure out, like, what is bugging me so bad? What is bothering me so much? I like this redundant kind of thing, like the same stuff to keep getting talked about. Like I'm fucking, I keep seeing on YouTube, it's day 9 of the impeachment hearing. So they're going to talk for 9 days about whether or not they should impeach this guy. It is like, oh my God, the show behind this ridiculousness. There is so fucking much show. There's so much filler. No wonder everything in our society is just filler. It's like our whole fucking life is just filler. It's just, God damn. Oh, I'm sick of the filler. I'm so fucking over this filler. So, anyways, uh, there's something in the news part that's just, I don't know. There's just a weirdness to me on social. I don't know if other people are noticing. It's just weird. It's just as weird as I feel, as weird as everything feels when I go on there. It just feels weird. Like I don't belong here. I need to go. I need to get off of here. And I'll keep looking because it's like I'm trying to see, like, is there anything going on out there in the world? That's my connection to the world, my outer lens. I've got my periscope up looking, is anything going on out there? And I just keep seeing this, like, oh, it's really. So anyways, this one triggered me because it's weird because I was not seeing this person for a while. And, I'm surprised. Like I talk about personal stuff, and stuff, but I don't know. There's an attention seeking, play out my drama on social media kind of thing that seems to go on. And I don't know, maybe I come across like that to some people. I don't know. But I sure see it a lot where it's just like, it's almost, it's uncomfortable. It's kind of cringy. It's kind of attention-seeking behavior, which is, one of those little descriptors inside of a diagnosis that is something that you need to see for yourself, that you're an attention seeker, you rely on drama, whatever it is, that you need to see that for yourself and notice your own behaviors when you're doing these things because it's not good for you. But anyways, it's for each person to decide for themselves. I'm not the general overseer of the world. I can just tell you what I see, what I see. And the thing about these people who consider themselves like these big spiritual leaders out in the spiritual community or something, they've all got these labels, star seeds. That's another group. Okay, so what groups did we leave to join the Starseed group? We leave we left some groups, I'll tell you that. And then they jumped into that one. And, and I can relate to not being from here or whatever, but I definitely don't go into that group and, go and pay attention because I don't align with the stuff that they say and stuff. Like I feel like when I hear a lot of it, I'm always like, what spiritual teachings have you been studying? And but I swear to God, I think a lot of them didn't. I think that they woke up in their spirit all of a sudden. It's like where they just totally 3D, and then all of a sudden they just felt their spirit come to life, and they all of a sudden became like, oh, I'm chosen. I'm a star seed. I'm fantastic. I'm beyond what everyone else is. Or, I'm not sure how it went because that didn't happen to me. Like, I've been talking to him my whole life. Like, I always knew what we were and what this was. Like, I knew things. So, I didn't have that happen. So, I don't know what happened to trigger these people to all of a sudden just become like, grab this label, especially when you're breaking free from labels. Well, you should be. You should be going into sovereignty, the soul's sovereignty, your state of being, of independence. That's why there's so much about independence during this, because we're coming into a state of independence. And so, just look at it. Like if you align with this, hold on, I gotta get my water. If you align with this, I was way over there because I had tea or something last, maybe, I don't know. But if you align with these labels, like if you are like, well, I'm a light worker. Well, I'm a light worker. Well, I'm a star seed and all that, it is, you can align with whatever labels you want, but don't get caught up in this stuff. Like you're breaking free from labels. Labels is a part of categorizing us in this three-dimensional world. Labels is something you want to pull free from. You don't want to just see yourself as just, because like I've said, if you had a diamond in all of its beautiful facets, and each way that you turn it, each prism of light that reflects back to you is so unique, how can you label it? Like, why do you want to label it? You just don't see yourself as that yet. And that's the journey. That's your path to enlightenment. That's your journey to that diamond, the you, the internal you. So like I said, I don't know what has happened in this awakening. I know that it has to do with ego, because that happened in my period of time of loss, is going through that ego death. And that and I didn't know anything about that before. I didn't know like about Kundalini. I didn't know about a lot of stuff before. I knew that there was purpose. I knew that there was destiny. I knew the people that came into my life had a purpose there. There was a lot of things that I knew about, I always knew there was alien. I always knew this place was supernatural. I always knew we were surrounded by ghosts. There was a lot of shit that I knew that it wasn't, but there was nobody I could talk about stuff with, because I thought it was just crazy. Oh, you're just crazy. So, and now those people are waking up. And so I don't know what the experience is for anybody who's going through that. Like, I don't know, if you have not been in contact with your soul your whole life, what it feels like to all of a sudden realize it's there. So, but about my purpose, my point, my point of view, the perspective that I have been treated with through my life, because it started such a long time ago. And I was even thinking that, I remember my mom having some self-help books, because I remember she had a book called something like, I am me, you are you, or some little like thing like that. It was really, really famous book back in the 60s or 70s. There was certain books that everybody read. So there was just a different kind of point of view even then. People talked about ESP, telepathy, all that kind of stuff. I don't know, I was like, they took people who were like, obviously my mom and her brother and my dad and my grandma, practicing, doing the Ouija board in the kitchen, practicing, doing telepathy. Like, everybody was all into that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, everybody was into cocaine, cocaine and disco, and, getting out to the party scene, and things got really pervy. And, people went way deep into a certain direction. But, I mean, that's a societal, that's like a bigger steering. It's a bigger river of learning for a whole society, for all of the universe to witness. And what's so crazy too is when you sit there and you think, well, what if I would have went right instead of left? What if I would have? That's what somebody is doing. They're playing that out. And then it's weird is how many people are running across like these doppelganger people having the same names, same kind of everything in their lives. They're the same. It's weird, but we're all playing out these different, the different facets, the different possibilities. And so anyways, it's just trippy, because when we realize we're all connection, we're all the mirrors in the mirror funhouse thing. We're all the different mirrors. And when we realize that, it just changes things. It's going to change so much of my life when other people start realizing, because it's, even if you understand the game differently, when everybody else is playing a different game than you, then what are you supposed to do? You got to learn from it. And so I've been learning, and I've been, the point of view that they were always giving me was like this psychology and stuff, even for me to notice, because it seems like my mom had read a couple of self-help books. But anyways, it was definitely a thing to me. And I read a lot of them. And I know a lot of people thought it was weird as shit, because it would tell me. And that was, you got to remember too, that was before people even were going to counselors. People didn't even go to the psychiatrist and count, like, that's what crazy people do. That took a long time for people to even get to that point. And so, but I wanted things to be better. I knew, like, it wasn't right to have your dad be some chimo drunk, my mom to treat me like I was some sort of leper my whole life. Like, there was things that I knew that were off. I knew they weren't supposed to be that way. I just couldn't figure out a lot of stuff. But I always had my guidance that was always talking to me. But still, they don't tell you everything because you're here to learn. You're here to grow, so they don't, spoil the surprise. They don't tell you what you're getting for Christmas before you get it. So anyways, but my perspective that I've been trained, is that's what I feel like has been in my training since I was young, is is like about mental health, about feeling better, about seeing things and stuff. And I've always been not into labels and, like, man, see, I was a nurse when I did identify as that, and it did fall apart. I'm trying to think, I guess tattoo artist. Yeah, I've had things before where I've identified under a certain label or group, but I didn't feel, because that was even when I was all into UFOs and all that stuff. I didn't even go join any of that stuff. I didn't go out and participate in that because I also believed the hype. I also thought, like, ugh. They would show the people at those conferences, they would seem like a bunch of weirdos, and I'd be like, well, I don't know, that's not really my group. I don't want to go out and get involved with a bunch of weirdos just because I know aliens are real. Like, I don't know if these people are for real. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with this group. So I never even got involved with any of that group. I always stayed out on my own, as the laughing stock in the room that was saying that there's aliens and stuff. But there was another one too. What was that? Anyways, but my whole thing, even in that, I feel like I was being taught to be able to stand, and not feel bad, not be bullied to being beat down, because I don't know, my internal world was much bigger than my external world. So, it didn't beat me down. Like, that's why I think it's important to help kids to develop their internal world. That's their support system. I'm going to start crying. Because I think that's what I think is missing for so many kids, is that spiritual connection. I think that's what's got so many angry and confused, and then their parents are just medicating them. Even when they try and talk about weird shit, our parents are programmed robots. So, and their parents have been, for a couple generations, have been steered away from spiritual growth, connection, thinking things through, looking at themselves and stuff. Like, you can see it in the programming. And oh my God, one thing that I cannot fucking stand, I still got to talk about this TikTok. One thing I cannot fucking stand that they do in movies is, that was weird, huh? You see all this, that is weird. Where is that coming in from? Darkness. Doesn't seem like it's changing in the room at all. That's weird. It seems like this is pulsing. But, it pisses me off in these old movies is that they make these, like, this one was even math, what is that, fuck, people would think of him as just old man. I think he was even in that movie called Grumpy Old Men, and he was Matt, what the fuck, I can't get his name out this second. I can see it, but I can't make it across the bridge with it. Is anyways, he's young in this, and he plays this guy Felix. And it also, I had seen another movie that was so similar to that, and I can't remember if that movie was made to look old or if it was an old movie too. But these fucking guys, I think it was an old movie too. But some of these guys in these old neighborhoods in the 60s or something just would go help themselves to somebody else's wife. And the wives were so weak. Oh my God. They'd just be like, they don't know how to, they didn't know how to stand up to people, or they were just trying to program them. Just be passive, let it happen, just go with it. And it's just like, oh my God, this is in so many of these movies. And this one where Kim Novak's married and Kirk Douglas is married. And then you've got to go with me to this thing. And then instantaneously that, he loves her. And instantaneously he just needs to see her again. And then the whole thing, how they'll go up and be so forceful. And the girl will be like, no, oh, yes. And it's just like, oh my God. They make women in these old movies such weak-ass bitches. I swear to God. Oh my gosh. It annoys the fuck out of me. But anyways, so back to this starseed thing. So I don't get what's going on. I mean, it's a pretty open group. As soon as you wake up and you decide, hey, I'm not really from here, I think I'm different than everybody else. And as soon as then you're a starseed or a light worker or whatever. I mean, there's starseed and light workers that just go around with the label and they don't do shit. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing to change society? What are you doing to make things different? What are you doing? Like, just calling yourself something. Like, we're here to make a change. We're here to change things. Put yourself out there. Be a leader. And, be a role model, whether it's, in your community or whatever it is, but I think there's a lot of these people who just want a label. They just want a title. I just want a diagnosis. I just need to know what's wrong with me, doc. Just get me the deets. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? They all want to know. And diagnoses, boy, that was like fucking holiday for everybody. God damn, I got a diagnosis. Oh, they've even got medication. I'm special. They got me a medication for my diagnoses. It's like, oh my gosh, it's weird. Like, think about it, really. It's really weird. And so, anyways, that had already got me anyways. Just to, the whole idea that the planet's ascending and you're on the planet, as long as you're here, as long as you keep yourself, as long as you wear this, as long as you get these, like, don't die, then just like all these people who know nothing about spirituality are just out here giving you the facts about it. This is the way it is. It's like, oh my God, have you studied anything? Like, just because you read one Dolores Cannon book doesn't make you an expert. Go read some more shit before you go out and talk about it. Fuck. Took me goddamn 40 years, 45 years before I went public talking about this shit. It's like, there's always more to learn. There's always more. You've got to always be open to being a learner. You can't always be a teacher. That's why I like to do this, because then I can just talk and be a teacher. But, somebody will cross my path and I will be learning from them, sometime. So, that's, and you got to be open to that. But it's like so many of these people, they are just the chosen ones, the starseeds, and the way they even talk to each other and do these videos to each other. I'm speaking to the chosen. I'm speaking to those of you who consider themselves the chosen, the starseeds, the light workers. I have a message to you. We are all doing great work here today. Like, it's just like, what the fuck? I don't get it. It's just like, it's as trapped as these people who are just like, come on, people, we got to vote. We got to get the right person in there. We get the right person in there, everything's going to go fine. It's like, these people get so caught up in their stuff. It's like, are you thinking about it different? Are you thinking about it like more open? Put it out in the field. How does it look then? Does it look the same? because I think it may be a little bigger, like, but okay. So today she's talking about, I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's, I mean, but she's putting this out there, like all these people are putting this stuff out there. Like, like somebody's saying, I don't even know if their divorce is dry yet. Like, it's been such a rocky, up and down situation. I don't even know if they got remarried. Like, it's been very public. And then to be where it seems to really be flirting with guys online, and then to come out and say, I'm not doing that at all. But it's like, well, it seems like it. And, if you're healing, growing, running to the next guy, the next girl is not the answer. And if you're really on a spiritual path, you'll know this is your path to you. This isn't who's the next one coming in to save you. Who's the next one that's going to come in and make you feel better about yourself. Who's going to come in and, tell you that you look pretty today on your video. Like all of those things where they just start relying on that. It's like the videos are just like, I mean, what is the purpose of standing around with your cleavage and your butt hanging out in a song? Like, what else are you trying to get out of it? So that, to me, it's transparent. It seems obvious. So, and this other girl, she has been, putting so much stuff out there through the whole thing when she was trying to tape her mom to try and make her mom look foolish online, like so she could make sure that she could be the victim. She needs everyone to see how abusive her mom is. We need a public humiliation here, please. And it's like, but you're out here telling people how to heal. What? Well, I guess this is one way of doing it. I don't know. Like, so she has her people that are on this journey, I guess, with her. I mean, there's, I really don't know this starseed chosen concept thing. Like, I don't really get it. Like how their minds are working, how they make it all make sense, how everything is making sense to them. Like, I don't know. There's so much stuff too that they'll say is so three-dimensional. It's like, are you the same group that was saying that you're leaving out with the 105, 1015, 1005, whatever? Y'all were all tapping out with that number. Like, is this the same group? Like, from the beginning of all of this stuff, that is one of my biggest frustrations, is that these accounts that just say stuff that are not, isn't spirit, like it's like misleading people. But that is a part of their awakening. That's a part of all those people's awakening. It's part of all of their experience. So, it's going to go that way. But it's just weird is, how people like me or something that has been, reading and studying this stuff and all that stuff, and our accounts are, held back because they want people to, but it's a part of the change. It's a part of that switch around. So I've said this whole time, you got to really watch out who you follow. Is, and some of these people, they'll be so, I don't know, like they can be sharing stuff, but then they have like I've said so many times, like I can be listening to somebody and think, oh yeah, it's going good. And then all of a sudden it's just like a switch, just like, damn, I was disappointed. But, but you got to notice that in your own self. Otherwise it's a part of your lessons. What you need to learn, that you're following some of these people. But so, and I'm sure some of them are all in agreement that they're on this journey together, but so many of them are all about the love and light, and you don't talk about anything that's bad. You don't notice the bad stuff. That's low vibration. You don't do that. And, to me, it's low vibration not to go through your experience and feel everything and to acknowledge all your emotions and stuff. Like, that's why I said, like, I don't know how they look at things. I don't know how they see things. So, I don't know. And then don't go in and listen to all these different people, because it is interfering so much with, like, there's way too many people telling what they think and stuff. So I can't go in and listen to all the people. Just as like, I got enough noise in my own head. Listening to their noise on top of my noise, and then my noise is going to argue with their noise. It's like, oh, I can't. So I can't listen to all this other stuff. But she was talking about, like, this whole thing about this anxiety and having a hard time, and that so whatever, I don't know anything about how long her healing journey has been or whatever. I mean, it went very it didn't go in a direction like that you would want it to go, because she ended up back in the hospital in the psych unit, and got all medicated, and now is back on medication because of her anxiety. And this is where I'm talking about from my philosophy. It's not just mine. Like, you go out and start doing your own journey, and you'll find you can decide for yourself what you think, but that you have to mind your mind, body, spirit. You have to pay attention to it. You have to notice when you're feeling anxious or burdened. You have to take care of yourself first. And so that right there is like, okay, so that's off from the spiritual journey that I understand right there. So when you are pushing yourself past your point of exhaustion, and then playing victim and calling yourself, the anxiety and stuff like that, and having to, be taken away on a stretcher. And, I don't know if it was that dramatic, but back into the hospital, and then having to be put back on the medication and stuff. And, if you're in your healing thing and you're going, and, she said that, she went back to that. Now she's on the medication, but now she's getting on to microdosing. So she's getting off of the other thing. It's weird when these weird cars drive by. She's getting off the other thing and going on to microdosing. Still a dependency. And she just reverts so much back to her diagnoses, her mental health, and all of that stuff. So if you are kind of stuck in that kind of thing, and so this is where I say, like, these teachings, like, I don't understand their teachings, the starseed teachings, because if you are, supposed to pay attention to anything, so, I mean, shame on you if you have anxiety, I guess, but you have to, for one thing, you got to start paying better attention to yourself. You got to spend time with yourself every day. That's why I keep trying to tell my daughter, and she keeps getting sick. She keeps having all these issues, and she pushes herself. You have to spend time with yourself every day. You have to take time that's just you, not anybody talking to you, telling you what to think, nothing. And, taking a bath can be a good one. It's like you have to reset yourself. You have to acknowledge that you need a resetting, a recharging, and you have to, like, process. You have to, like, process the day or something. Process out how you feel about the day, about whatever happened during the day. And then, to me, that, would be a communication. Like, I would be, like, it would be like having a meeting with a whole group, we would talk about. But mine's just all constant throughout the day. It wouldn't be like, we'll wait till the end of the day to talk to you. No. If they want something to talk, if they want to talk, they just start telling me stuff. And so, and they'll tell me, sometimes they'll tell me how to look at something different right then. They'll point something out. So it's handy to be in contact with your guides, I'm telling you. It's a handy thing to have, to get into that guidance, to get into, all I can say when you're trying to find it is just, it's a higher mind. It's like going into grad school of the mind. You know, you just go into a higher phase. It's like a leveling up from being reactive. So anyways, so she had to go back into the hospital. That's going back into the system that we're trying to break free from. So that's another thing. Like, I don't understand, because the star seeds keep going back. Well, I don't know if they all do. I mean, this one, but going back to the system we're trying to break free from is the wrong thing. At least somebody, I guess, has told her, to get off of the Seroquel and get onto the mushrooms. But, it's a step down. Like, when I got off of all of the pharmaceuticals, I went on the RSO, and it was a step down to get off of this stuff. But it was such a long time ago. That's why I said I'm going to sound so judgmental, because it was like, and I'm sure, it was a lot harder. And I've gone to the doctor a lot of times through these years. It's only in the past couple, because it is like certain steps. My whole thing, though, is that a lot of these people are out there leading people on their spiritual path, where people are going, and, that you got to take notice. If somebody is going back and needing to get back on it, they've got a long ways to go on their journey. Like, I can't believe how many people think like their journey is like a split second. Like, well, I healed that. I healed all my old trauma. You don't even know what all's going to keep coming up. Like, it doesn't just heal like instantaneously. You got to tear everything down that you ever believed about yourself. All of you is dismantled. And then you have to forgive yourself for all of the pain that you've ever caused. You have to forgive the people who caused pain to you. And then, and I was doing that through life. I wasn't holding on to a bunch of stuff like that. My biggest thing, I think, was facing myself. I was where was just seeing the patterns that I had built up in my own life, that I wasn't a victim, that I was making choices, that I was ignoring red flags and stuff. I was playing out patterns. I was continuing, my story. I had to stop the story. And so but I didn't, I always had, guidance, telling me, like, I didn't hold resentment towards people throughout life. I wasn't angry and hated. I didn't have anybody I hated. I didn't hate exes. I didn't hate people who stole money from me. I didn't hate friends that, I didn't hate people who fucked me over. I just, my guides would talk to me. I would understand things, and I would let it go. And I would always think, hey, things get balanced by themselves. There's nothing I need to do about it. For all I know, I'm balancing something out. And if it is, that they've done something to me, then that's their debt. It's not something I need to mess with. The universe has a system of its own, and you have to put things back into balance. So, I just didn't get all like bent out of shape. Like, I've always known there was a bigger purpose and stuff like that. I've always known that people that you have contact with are your soul people. Like, there's just so much of this shit that I've known for so long. That's why I'm saying, like, I lived such a different life than what I don't understand how other people were living. Just always concerned about what everybody thought about them and trying to be real perfect to make sure everybody liked them. Like, I don't know. But anyways, however it's been, we've had a very toxic world, a toxic society, and we got to change it. We got to change ourselves. And so whatever you have to face in your own, everybody's is going to be their own awakening, their own stuff. And so in the process, though, because this is like a sovereignty, this is like an end of a cycle. So this is why this whole thing about freedom is so much in this society, is because we're breaking free from this control. And so, you got to break free from the medical. You got to break free from running to a doctor. You got to break free from pushing yourself to exhaustion. You got to recognize, and then also with this anxiety to sit there and think, oh, well, it's somebody else's. And then you're having to be hospitalized over it. And then you got to recognize you're still holding on to things. There is so much in there to release. There's so much. And people just, I don't know how people think like that they do all their healing just, a couple quick visits and it's all done. I'm all better. And then they're so upset when something else comes up. It's like, no, you're just on a new journey now. You were before on a mindless, artificial journey that you didn't give a shit. You weren't paying attention. And now you're on a journey of being more mindful, of understanding life on a deeper terms, and knowing that you need to take care of yourself in different ways. Recognize your body's signals to you. When your body's saying, hey, I'm anxious, go sit down with it and say, let's talk about it. What's going on? What are we thinking? What are we feeling? Why are we feeling like this? I do that all the time. If I get up and it's just like this high anxiety, and I'll keep feeling like, what in the hell? Why does it feel like this? I'll go through everything. I'll think, this is nothing to do with me. This is coming from somewhere else. And then I'll go and look it up, and all these different people are like, oh, it's a full moon, and there's so much, or it's the Schumann resonance and all that stuff. But also, just another thing is the close quarters that we're all experiencing. And some people's are real close, but the energy, you can be picking up on your neighbor's energy. And if they're really stressed out, then they can cause that. But the first place you always go is you. Like, listen to your body. You got to go check in with your body. You got to go listen and try and get to the bottom of it, of why you're feeling the way you feel, and take some time to not be pushing yourself. It could just be that you're pushing yourself. It could be that you're not supposed to be where you are right then. You're supposed to, go somewhere else. It's like you got to tune into yourself. You got to tune into the signs. You got to tune into your body, the signals. And so that is a part of your spiritual growth. Like if you are, think of yourself as a starseed or a light worker and all that stuff, just like break free from those titles and just start, you are somebody from out there in space. Your soul has spent a lot of time out in other places. This place feels more foreign to you. It feels like it doesn't match your vibration. And so, you don't feel like this is your home and stuff, but you don't have to be in alignment with all of the, break it down to the smaller scripters, the facet of who you are. It doesn't have to go into a category to be accepted. So anyways, but if you're, you think like, starseed and whatever, and love and light, and we can't think about anything, I think you're missing out on the experience, because you're supposed to experience so that you're always figuring out, you're always finding your equilibrium, your balance in the experience. So you're always learning everything throughout the experiences. So, all of these experiences, you're not supposed to just pay attention to the good ones. Like that's like kind of like an alcoholic or something. They never grow up because they never have to deal with any experiences. Like it's kind of like creating yourself as the boy in the bubble or something, only it's emotional. You become emotionally immature, emotionally retarded in some way. You are underdeveloped because you just deal with things that make you happy. And so anyways, just think about it. And, you're here for a development. You're not here to just try and cross the thing, with the title, and have the t-shirt on and make sure you have the right necklaces on. No, it's the journey is to you. It's your ever expanding journey, your ever expanding road to self, your enlightenment. And this is, this is a time when this is all happening right now. This is a big, huge thing, this changing of the ages and these opportunities. So, you gotta go into more spiritual stuff, like live through your spiritual side, live through your soul, live through this space, this area. Don't get up in here and just overthink everything. But that is the place where you go. Also, well, it's like a phone call center. Man, that's weird. It's like a phone call center. Sometimes you gotta hang up some calls, but it's also like a boardroom. It's like you go in when you are going to discuss, so you can understand something, so you can see it, so it can make sense to you. And so, and that's a part of your spiritual development, is learning more about going into communication with yourself, whether you do it through meditation or whatever. It just is getting into a relaxed state, like quieting all of the noise, so that you can, get into the higher minded thinking. And so then you can reevaluate and process. And so then you can, it's like releasing stuff before you pack it away and hold on to it. And so anyways, that's, something to just kind of, it's getting in the habit of taking better care of yourself. And then to push yourself into the point of having to go to the hospital. That's like still playing out victim roles. Don't push yourself into playing out these victim roles. Catch your own dysfunction, your own toxic behavior. Catch it, so that you see, like, oh my gosh, fuck, I've got to constantly get myself pushed. I don't take good care of myself, so that I can go in the hospital and be whiny, so that somebody will take care of me, because that makes me feel better, because that's the only way I know how to get love, is for somebody to be there and take care of me. You got to figure out how to love yourself. Not, don't go outside of you to look for these things that you are trying to do. Catch your behaviors. Catch yourself doing your own toxic stuff. And some of this stuff is like simple to start catching, like borderline and histrionic, some of those things, the same as with narcissists, all of these behaviors. You can start catching yourself doing it and figure out different ways to do it. And that's why read as many books as you can about this stuff. You'll become an expert on your own fucking self. Like, you won't be able to trick yourself. Nobody will be able to trick you. You'll understand yourself. And I think that scares some people. They think that that's like, well, I don't want to, I don't want to spend too much time in my mind. That's a scary place. It's like, well, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be scary at all. It should be somewhere where you're comfortable. So I don't know what's going on in some people's minds, why it's scary. But it's not the way I've ever lived, but I've definitely tried to talk to people where you get those reactions. So you've got to start opening your mind. You've got to start getting comfortable, opening the doors to your mind, brushing out the cobwebs, letting the bats free, and get in there and start trying to understand yourself on a deeper level, and, not relying on medication, and even switching, like, if you've been on your healing journey, you're trying to get off pharmaceuticals and stuff, then, do a step down or whatever, but really keep pushing yourself as stepping down. Don't just get comfortable and just be like, I like to smoke weed now. I just like to smoke it. And I like smoking. I'm addicted to smoking. I like it. But I figure once I get these goddamn plastic things out of my chest, I swear to God, I cannot wait. I swear to God. I think sometimes I can move my arm and you could hear him go squeak, squeak. I swear to God. I am so over these things. I know. It really drives me so crazy. I'll be so mad at myself. Like, oh my God, why were you so insecure, Kelly? Like, oh my God, now you got stuck with these damn balloon things on your chest. They're just not comfortable. I can't stand them. I told my daughter, it's like, putting a bunch of rocks in your pocket when you're wearing tight jeans or something. I can't stand it. And so I mean, I can't stand it so much where I toy with it in my mind of going back under the knife. It's just like, please, med beds, hurry, hurry. I just want these things out of me. And besides the fact, they probably are making me sick too. And I would tell anybody who is thinking about doing any kind of these plastic surgeries to change you, don't do it. Don't do any of that stuff. Work on you. Work on how you feel about you. That's what we got to do more with kids and stuff. We got to get them to go more into the spiritual side. We got to get them to learn to love themselves. And, it's so crazy too for my implants. It was mostly girls. It wasn't guys. I didn't have guys sitting there saying, you could really use some boobs. Wasn't any. It wasn't ever any guys. Well, the one who was the big old cheater, I already had him when I was with him, and he kept wanting him bigger. I was like, what the hell? I want him. I don't even want him in here. They're so uncomfortable. I can't imagine him being bigger. And I had such body dysmorphia. I didn't even know how ridiculous they looked on me at the time. Now, that's all I can see. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe these things. Ugh. But anyways, I want that. I want in the med beds. I want those things out. And my eyes fixed. There's a lot of stuff. But then I think once you go in there, like, why? I mean, I wouldn't need to smoke. I don't think I would ever smoke again. Then, I mean, maybe smoke for fun. But, I don't know. But anyways, I have to always go through my whole thing because that's how they talk to me. They start telling me, well, what about you? What about you and those joints, Kelly? What are you doing with those joints? Gonna smoke some joints today? I'm telling you, you just got to start a really good relationship with them. Because then you can tell them to fuck off whenever you want. Because it's your friends. They're just your friends. They're even your grandparents and stuff. They're your friends when they're not your grandparents. We're all just a bunch of weirdo souls that are a bunch of weirdos, really. Like, we come in and play all these weird parts and stuff. Like, it's really kind of weird. But anyways, but you got to really pay attention to who you're following and stuff like that. Because on things like that, for your healing, you got to be a lot more proactive. You got to not run to your safety net. If you've been trying to get off your pharmaceuticals for a long time, be more determined. Start really taking bigger steps on all of your stuff that you're trying to do. Just push yourself a little harder if but then also, if it's taking you years and years, don't be hard on yourself. If you keep trying and you're pushing yourself and it just is like, just drags and drags, that's part of your experience. It's supposed to be that way. Don't get frustrated with the experience. Get into the experience. Roll with it, And, that's this girl's public, acknowledgement of her journey. She's putting out a certain energy, and then I'm taking that energy and transmuting it and using it in a different way to kind of get you to see, like, this toxic side, the part of us that we're trying to heal, the part of us we're trying to get rid of. So trying to get that expression so that you can see the other side, because I think most people who listen to me are trying to heal. They're trying to improve their life and improve their relationships. So you want to, don't just follow along with what some people say, like, oh, well, don't worry about your anxiety. If you're feeling anxious, it's the ascension symptoms, this overall ascension symptoms, because you're just ascending. And she even said, like, something about, something in the human body. It's like, just that right there, to be still on those terms of the human body and stuff. Like, don't let some of these people hold you back on your thinking and stuff. Like, go at your own pace, and don't be held back, like, with, the star seed overall group thought, the restrictions, how they hold you. into, these certain mindsets or something. Like, because the universe is not doing this for you. You're not going to just ascend because the universe is, the earth is ascending. So you're just going to ascend. You're riding the coattails of the universe. No, that's not how it's going to go down. And if you think it is, just think, well, what if everybody else was this? Everybody was just like, yeah, well, what do I got? I don't have to do any work. Fucking universe is doing it for me. All I got to do is sit here. Like, what in our society would change? Nothing. We've been living the same ass way. So things have to change. We have to change. We have to be different. And you have to be, proactive. You have to go for what you want in your life. You have to be aware and see things. And so, seeing, keeping yourself in balance too. Recognizing, well, I've been saying I want off of those antidepressants, the anti-anxiety medicine. With all the stuff coming out, that's got to be more motivation. With all the stuff with the Alzheimer's and shit, it's got to be, more of the push to be like, I got to get off this shit. Plus, it's going to help you to heal, because you got to feel your stuff. These pills and stuff that they give people, it is like the same thing with the alcoholics. They don't go through their experience, so when they stop drinking at whatever time, 40 years, 50 years later, they're still like the same age emotionally, mentally, that they were when they started drinking. So if they started drinking when they were 17, no matter if they stopped when they were 50, emotionally, they're still 17. They didn't experience life. They didn't grow. And so that's the same thing what the pharmaceuticals is doing. It's the same thing why they push alcohol. They don't want people to grow. They want you to be sad. They want you to be depressed. And they want you to take all the goddamn pills. And they've always got another one. They've always got, and they've always got a special one, So, that's their game, and you have to see through it. And so, I don't know. Like, just recognize when people, the whole thing with manifesting, like if you're following some of these people and they keep telling you about manifesting and manifest $10 million and do that, they're going to keep trying to keep you stuck in this 3-dimensional way of thinking. But you have to start recognizing it. You have to start recognizing this break free from that world. There's a spiritual world in the 3D, just like there's a religious world. That's a totally separate. The real spiritual is pulling free from all of the parameters, the paradigms. Just like I said, when I was just, I hadn't even started my adulthood. I was just leaving my teenage years, and I pulled free from the church. The church, I don't have nothing to do with religion, and I'm not a Christian. And all of that stuff. That was a big thing to say. That is not having any influence over me. Even when people would tell me I don't believe in God, I believe in the devil, all sorts of stuff that I would get told. And I had to go with, pulling free to my own beliefs. I can't follow along with beliefs I don't believe in. And so that is where you have to come up. Like, you have to start understanding your own beliefs and follow your own beliefs. Not the beliefs of the group, not the beliefs of everybody else, but your own beliefs. And it's like being an explorer to figure yourself out. But the whole thing is like it's a journey. It's a journey to yourself. Once you break down all the things you thought you were and let them go, you still got to rebuild back into who you are. And it's like, start with a clean slate, figuring out what you're good at. What do you like? What are your interests? What kinds of things do you want to do? What kind of people do you want to be around? It's like a whole new thing. So it's like an ever expanding, eat, love, pray kind of thing for life when you start going in that direction. Like, I don't know this other direction that everybody was living and stuff. Like, I don't understand all of this awakening to their soul for the first time. Like, I don't understand how, like, what it's all about. Like, I don't know. All I can tell you is like the point of what's going on here in the world right now, and what it's there to help you. so that as your soul awakens, you can be more proactive and you can start changing your life for the better, because all of us changing our lives for the better is what changes the world. So all of us, everything that we do is that important that it changes the world. So we all have to get out there and do our part. We all have to get out there and heal and stuff. And that's why I say it's going to be, those are going to be the people that are going to go forward. The people who don't want to heal, who don't want to do that stuff, they'll just leave the game, and I'm not sure. It's all based on one's own frequency. Everybody is a higher frequency than this place, though. But you can't go incarnate, like you can't leave. Like if you go outside of okay, so it's weird. Okay, so think of like the earth plane, and then there's like frequency and stuff, because this is held down by this heavy, dense frequency that it makes matter, makes it have the appearance of the picture, so we can go up and feel things and smell things and stuff. And then you have the other realms where we can't see the people. So they're still around us, but we can't see them because they're not in this same vibration, the same density. So they are in, they're just their energy body. So they aren't in our same realm, our same reality, but they're right next to us. And so then that has like a big realm of its own. That's a big space. Then there's all these different places that you can go out and incarnate and go out and experience all different things, all different ways of living and beings and stuff. And it's like kind of, like in America, everything's all mixed up. But like if you go to India, there's going to be a majority of the people are all going to be from there. So it's kind of like you go to some of these other planets, like the Pleiades or Syria or whatever, all these different places, then all of those people are in that, they inhabit their own space. And so a lot of those, they stay in those lives for a really long time. That's why I said people who are here from those lives, it's more like you didn't die in that life. It's more like you are in a meditation. It's more like your body is like in a Kairos status or whatever. You're still there. You are inhabiting another form for this experience, and it's in a different vibration. But then, so when you leave from here, and so depending on your vibration, so for the people who think like, well, they didn't ascend or whatever, being the ascending just opens up. It's like more opens up to you, like more frequencies, more it's like you can go up into higher and higher frequencies. It all depends, but still it has so much to do. It all has to do with your vibration. You can't go past your own vibration. And so but your vibration is beyond this vibration. So it's not like you're trapped in hell because you don't ascend, because your vibration can be way beyond. You could be from some other planet and be from way beyond here. And it's like, fuck, I don't have to do this shit. All I got to do is finish this part and, I'm gone. And, you're going back to your own place. And so, and probably through this experience, it raised your vibration even more. And you don't even have to do the ascension. Like there's so many different things playing out. So you can't sit here and think like, well, somebody's going to be trapped in this dimension and all of that stuff if they don't do the ascension. Like, don't let fear drive you. Don't think, well, I have to do this because otherwise I'm going to be stuck here. Don't listen to the people saying that shit. That's what I mean. You have a bunch of people saying shit that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And you don't have to listen to me. Just go read lots and lots of books about near-death experiences and lots of books about reincarnation. Read other religions' ideas about reincarnation. Like, go and, educate yourself in the area. Don't stay victim to it. But, as far as I understand, your vibration would be much higher than this. But the only way to play out these situations is in a lower vibration. So, and the people who are just so, negative, just don't care about, just hurt people and all that stuff. Like, I don't know what the deal is on their vibration. Like, I don't know if they are, you know, I don't know. I don't even know if they're just, playing a role to just be the outrageous ones through this situation, or if they're really, that is their attitude and they really are going to, those kind, you would be stuck to, um you wouldn't be able, you have to go and learn out of that. Like, you have to learn out of these things. Like, you have to experience these things so you learn, so that you don't stay in ways of judgment and hatefulness and not caring about people and stuff. So that's where you have to stay in these realms to learn that stuff. So, but don't listen to all these different people saying all this wacky stuff, because, like, a lot of them, they just woke up and they don't have not studied spirituality. They just went straight up in their ego, and a lot of their public healing is toxic. It's not productive. It's not, but that is going to be a part of their, when everything turns, it's like a part of themselves they're not willing to see. So when it turns, they're going to be hit ultra hard with this view of themselves. And, and I'm still waiting to see what the view of myself is going to be, we're all going to see, just as we can go out, we can see people and it's like they're transparent and you see right through them. They can't hide it, and you are that same way to everybody else. But it's things you don't see yet. But when all this stuff turns, it's like you're going to see yourself really well. You're going to be able to see. You're going to understand. And that's where you just really want to get caught up and not get all down about it. That's where you got to be like, okay, now let's go. Now I see what my problems are. It's crystal clear. And now I know what I'm working with. Don't feel shame and guilt. You got to process through those things. Those things will hold you back and feeling bad about yourself. So just process through the things. And, it's just a process to love yourself. It's a process to heal and to learn to love and forgive everybody. And it's just the same thing, we want to forgive ourselves. We want to forgive others. So it's just this process. And we come in here to live these examples of living so that we can learn and let go of things, so that we can grow. And the more you let go of, the better you feel. The more you raise your vibration, the more that things don't bother you. So anyways, I just wanted to say that I was just like, oh my gosh, this is somebody who, just over the past couple of days, like things that she said. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are out there who are, I know there's a lot of people who, I don't know, they're just trying to figure it out, just trying to figure out healing and stuff. And there is some books. There is a couple of books that people have put out, like these journals. Like, I don't know about the emotional freedom one, but that one girl said that she really liked that book. But there's also a couple of journals that people have put out to help you walk through your healing. So there's all sorts of stuff. More and more people are healing. There's more music coming out about it. Everybody's doing it. It's the latest thing. It's not about your spiritual awakening, to realize like, well, it is for a lot of people to realize all of a sudden, look, I have a soul. But it is this, it's the healing. It's the letting go of stuff. It's the journey to you. It's the journey to your best self. That's the thing. That's the thing that we're on. So, the spiritual part is just like surprising how many people just had cut themselves off from that. But I think it's all done so purposeful. Like, it's all done is, to keep us from ourselves. So anyways, but it's the journey to yourself. So anyways, I want to talk about, look how long I can talk. I can just talk and talk and talk all day. So anyways, I don't know. I haven't even gone and taken Stella for a walk yet. I probably better get on that. Oh, because the time thing was just going across and it was 1:14. I was like, oh my God, it's already 1 o'clock. No, it's only 11:01. It's like, fuck, time just so freaky to me. I can't believe I just thought that was 114, 111441 when I said that. Okay, anyways, enough of that business. Just work on you and just really watch out. And don't get caught up in these labels and shit. And the rules. Nobody needs to be putting rules on you. You are breaking free from the rules. You are determining your own rules. It's like you've moved out of your parents' house and now you got to make the decision. And you got to go through. Do you want their rules? Is that really how you want to live your life? Or you want new rules? Like you have to make up your own rules for you. And your rules don't have to apply to anybody else. They're just your rules. They're your own special rules for you. And it's just a thing to do. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.